welcome to another part of our ZooKeeper series. So in this part, I'm trying to, look at available third-party tools, first and foremost user interface tools, because that's what ZooKeeper is lacking out of the box. There is no user interface delivered with ZooKeeper itself. But if you Google, like for ZooKeeper GUI, graphical user interface, you get a lot of hits actually, a lot of different plugins for IntelliJ or even for VS Code, Microsoft, or ZooKeeper UI, commercial and mostly open source. So for the price of just a little bit of your time or maybe contributing coffee or beer. And if you look at the images, there's also lots of screenshots. So the idea obviously is to navigate the information in ZooKeeper in a graphical UI and maybe be able to change it. We don't want that really for Siebel because it's very dangerous to use any other tools other than provided by Oracle. But for read access, it would be very convenient to have a graphical UI. Also, for example, exporting the data and comparing it maybe to another export. So I've browsed this quite a lot over the past years, and I kept track of several utilities and tried some of them. And one of them I want to try today. And it's the first one in the images hit. It's actually on GitHub, so I have it open here already from the nice user echoma, and it's called zkui UI. So easy to find on GitHub/echoma/zkui UI. It's open source, and there is a download page available where there is a Windows download, so already compiled version. So it's a standalone version. Many of these plugins that you find on Google are practically Docker images, so you would need a Docker instance. But here this Windows installer is perfect for my purpose. So I'll download it. And once downloaded, let's extract it. Let's say to the C drive. So I'm extracting the zip file to a folder. Let's just call the folder zkui. And there you have, quite a lot of stuff. There should be a executable. So zkui exe is the Windows executable, fingers crossed. And there is a DLL missing. Mr. Ma writes about this here, so I have to go and get the redistributable for x86 and x64. So I looked it up and install it and come back. So problem solved, and it was you actually need the redistributable from 2010. Yes, echoma is that old, and once the redistributable from 2010 is installed, you can launch zkui exe. Gives you that user interface with the host name and port number to enter. So let's connect to localhost because I'm running on the gateway machine. Would be your real host name and the port number. And there is a digest, which we need for Siebel because we have access control. So I'm using the registry user and registry password, and we can click login, and there we go. So we have a graphical user interface, and that shows already the first level entries like config, and you can now navigate to profiles, SWSM, the AI profile. So this is my AI1 profile, and there's applications, call center, application, And object manager, okay, there's a value here. All right. So, and there's some thread bar as well, so quite nice. So you can see the whole JSON is stored here, and it allows you to edit, but please don't do it. Don't edit anything here. It's not for editing. For what it's good is probably this menu allows us to export. So we want to do read-only. So I can open any, let's say, so we can, for example, open the enterprise, the training enterprise, and let's say we want to compare it, maybe keep a snapshot for comparing it later, or compare it to different enterprise or different export we've done. So now it should export everything below. Maximum depth is 100, that should be okay. And export it to local directory. So will creative not exist? So let's do zkui UI, and that's training_1. Okay, so that's runs the export. Will take a while, of course. Let's go to that folder. Okay, there's already a subfolder created. And we can see it creates a folder-like structure. So everything that's a node becomes a folder. And inside the folder we have, somewhere deep in there, you have files with the content. So the parameters for call center, each parameter is a folder. And there's actually a data file which probably contains the data, applet select for this parameter. So it's quite a lot of folders that are generated here. And we just have to wait until this finishes. So the tool has finished. It showed export success. And so I can close the export. And in the folder structure now we have all the node structure exported as folders and data files. For example, named subsystems, all there. So now let's experiment with that a little. So I'm going to make a change. So I'm using Server Manager here. There's no Siebel server running currently, only basically Gateway and the Tomcat, the internal Tomcat. So I can log into Server Manager and I can make changes, let's say, to component definition. So let's say change param max tasks equals 55 for comp def. And let's pick the English call center. So that should work. Okay, completed successfully. Thank you, ma'am. So now I made a change, and that is manifested in ZooKeeper. So I will export the enterprise again. This time to training 2. And start. So we'll come back later once this is done. So the second export is success. So imagine this is like at a much later time, and you want to now have a diff analysis of those two very large folder structures to identify the changes, or maybe those are two different enterprises after all, and you want to still identify the differences. So I have downloaded and installed a nice freeware tool called WinMerge, and that's installed already. So with WinMerge, I should be able to open those two folders. So there's first folder, second, or even a third one. So let's go to the first folder. That would be training 1, of course. And then let's just specify folder 2 as the second folder. And we can do compare. So that's going to show compare the two folders. And we can see that everything's identical, save the component groups folder. And we can expand that. We can quickly see call center is different. And we can follow the information down there. So it's the call center component and the parameters, and max tasks is different. Hey. So there's even the data file. Text files are different because that's where the data is. You can double click it and open it and compare the two versions. So from a value of 100, we change it to 55. Okay, that was easy. So as you can see, WinMerge is of course much more capable, but for this simple task of comparing the folder structure, identifying the differences in the two folders, or the two Siebel Enterprise snapshots, so to speak, it was a perfect combination of third-party tools. So we have been using echoma, ZooKeeper, or zkui UI in read-only mode, of course. So please don't ever try to use it for editing. And we have used WinMerge to compare two exports of zkui UI, and that worked quite well. So thanks much for watching. Take care and bye-bye.